Pompeii, a city frozen in time by the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius, had long captivated the imagination of tourists from around the globe. Its ruins spoke of a vibrant life abruptly snuffed out, a ghostly reminder of nature's unforgiving power. For Lucy, Tom, Maria, and Ben, four friends from college, it seemed like the perfect destination for a unique and unforgettable vacation. They arrived on a sweltering summer day, the sun beating down on the ancient stone streets. Their guide, an elderly local named Vittorio, regaled them with tales of Pompeii's history, its bustling streets, vibrant frescoes, and tragic end. But when they strayed slightly from the main path, curiosity led them to a shadowed corner of the ruins that Vittorio had warned against exploring. "That part of Pompeii is not on the official tour," Vittorio had said earlier, his voice low and grave. "There are stories of things best left undisturbed." The friends laughed off his warning. They weren't the type to believe in old superstitions or ghost stories. They were here for an adventure, and this off-the-beaten-path corner promised exactly that. The chamber they stumbled upon was small, half buried in ash and debris, its entrance hidden by vines and rubble. A faded inscription above the doorway bore unfamiliar symbols. "It's like something out of a movie," Tom said, brushing aside the vines to step closer. Inside, the air was cool and musty, thick with the scent of earth and decay. In the center of the room lay an intricately carved wooden box, its surface blackened and charred, yet adorned with strange, swirling symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. "This is incredible," Maria whispered, running her fingers over the designs. "It must be ancient." Lucy hesitated. "Maybe we shouldn't touch it," Vittorio said. "Oh, come on," Ben interrupted, already lifting the lid. "We didn't come all this way to listen to ghost stories." The box creaked open, revealing a collection of gleaming artifacts. A delicate necklace, a small bronze dagger, an ornate chalice, and other trinkets. Each piece seemed to shimmer unnaturally, as though illuminated by an unseen light. The air around them grew colder, and an unsettling silence fell over the chamber. As they examined the artifacts, a faint tremor rippled through the ground. Dust rained from the ceiling, and the four exchanged uneasy glances. "Just an aftershock," Tom said, though his voice wavered. Maria reached for the necklace, but the moment her fingers brushed its surface, a chill raced through her body. Shadows began to flicker on the walls, shifting and twisting in unnatural shapes. A low whisper filled the air, indistinct but unmistakably anguished. What is that?" Lucy stammered, stepping back. The shadows grew more distinct, forming the outlines of people, men, women, and children, faces contorted in terror. Their forms flickered like candle flames, their silent cries echoing through the chamber. Ben dropped the chalice he had picked up, the clang echoing unnaturally loud. "We should leave. Now." As if in response, the ground shook violently and a deafening silence enveloped them. The air grew heavy, pressing down on their chests. Lucy gasped, clutching at her throat as if an invisible hand was choking her. Suddenly, from the darkest corner of the chamber, a figure emerged. Its translucent form glowed faintly, its face a mask of agony. It pointed a long skeletal finger at the open box, then at the group. Its voice, when it spoke, was a guttural, otherworldly moan. "You must return." Maria screamed and bolted for the exit, dragging Lucy with her. Ben and Tom followed, the ghostly figure gliding after them, its presence filling the chamber with an unbearable cold. They burst into the open air, gasping for breath, but the terror wasn't over. The artifacts, still clutched in their hands, seemed to pulse with a dark energy. The once blue sky above Pompeii turned an ominous gray, and the distant rumble of thunder echoed through the ruins. "Drop them!" Lucy shouted, tossing the dagger she held onto the ground. The others followed suit, but the relics didn't stay where they fell. Instead, they seemed to gravitate back toward the box, as if pulled by invisible strings. The group backed away, but the air thickened like a suffocating fog, and a bone-chilling wind whipped around them. Shadows emerged from every corner, more figures like the one in the chamber, their ghostly forms filling the ruins. Each spirit bore the marks of their death, ash-covered faces, twisted limbs, and expressions of eternal torment. They surrounded the friends, their spectral hands reaching out, their voices merging into a cacophony of anguish and accusation. Tom collapsed to his knees, clutching his chest. "I can't breathe." "Help him," Maria cried, but she too felt the oppressive weight pressing down on her. The ghostly figures closed in, and the box snapped shut with a resounding thud. A final, earth-shaking tremor knocked them all to the ground. The spirits paused, their gazes fixed on the sealed box. One by one, they began to dissolve, their forms dissipating like smoke in the wind. When the tremor ceased, the ruins were silent once more. The oppressive fog lifted, and the blue sky returned. The box lay undisturbed, its surface now dull and lifeless. The four friends scrambled to their feet, shaken but alive. They didn't speak as they made their way back to the main path, their steps quick and unsteady. When they finally reached Vittorio, he took one look at their pale faces and the absence of the artifacts and nodded solemnly. "You saw them, didn't you?" he said quietly. "The spirits of Pompeii, they protect what is theirs." Tom opened his mouth to argue, but no words came. Lucy glanced back at the ruins, half expecting to see the ghostly figures watching them. But the ancient city stood silent, as if nothing had happened. They left Pompeii that evening, vowing never to speak of what they had seen. But the memories haunted them long after. The flickering shadows, the anguished whispers, and the suffocating weight of the spirit's wrath. And deep within the ruins, the box lay waiting, its cursed treasures sealed away, ready to ensnare the next curious souls who dared to disturb the restless dead.